Hey guys, today I want to talk to you guys about the Father's love, His love for us. When you hear the Father's love, I think you might think of a Father's love, compare it to how your Father loved you. And so if you had an abusive father, you might have this idea in your head, not that something that you're not really conscious of, but it's kind of seated in you, about the way he expresses his love is by abusing you. And he goes overboard because he cares a lot about you and he doesn't even realize it. And so you see that as love, and that's what you think of as love. And you may even then do that to other people in response, because that's the example of love that you had. You see, all the fathers in the world that we have are not the example that we are to follow. It doesn't even matter if they are a godly man and they are following God. We aren't to follow his example. We are to follow Jesus' example. And you can read through scripture and you can find out what he was like and who he was and what he did, and you can develop a relationship with him and talk to him, and then he'll start to guide and direct you and show you his heart, and you'll start to realize his heart, and you'll start to reflect his heart, and therefore reflecting his love. The Father's love is a love that you can't understand unless you experience it. Let me put it this way. If you had never drove in a car before, you never ridden in a car before, and you've never seen a car in your life, it would be almost like you're in a time machine, right? And you're actually back in the day where all they had was horses and chariots and stuff, and you get into the time machine and you go through time and you end up here right now, where people are driving cars all over the place. If somebody from this time frame went back in time to when there was just horses and chariots and tried to explain to that person what these cars were like, they couldn't fully grasp what they're talking about. It doesn't make sense. They can't understand it. It's not until they experience it that they actually start to understand, and they get a better idea and a head knowledge of what's going on. So if they were back in that time and you try to explain it to them, good luck. They're going to have a hard time. You're trying to compare it to other things that they can relate it to, and they will never fully grasp what it is. But if you can take them from that time and bring them forward to experience it, now they understand. Now they know what it is. And it's the same thing with the Father's love. You don't know what the Father's love is like until you experience it. And you can experience it through people, and you can also experience it through your relationship with God and him directing you and showing you what to do. Sometimes you'll experience it by when you feel like God's telling you, go and do this for this person, and you don't understand, and you do it anyway because you're following his voice. And then after you do it, something happens, and you still might not understand, but eventually of doing it, then you start to understand, oh, this is a way that my Father shows love, and this is a way how He is, and this is what He wants me to do. So we are to reflect the Father's love. And my question for you is, are you reflecting the Father's love? Or are you not reflecting love at all? Is it a selfish love? What kind of love is it? Because love, and you can go and read about it in the scripture, but it talks about how, love is kind, love is gentle, and love is long-suffering. It's selfless. It doesn't think of itself. It thinks of others. So, but there's a whole list in scripture that you can read about love. Go look it up on your app. Just type in love, or even type in your internet, like, what does the Bible say about love? And you'll find a list of what love is. The definition of love that we have today, or how we use the word love, is not really actually what it means. And what I mean by that is when you say, I love you to someone, typically what you're actually saying is, I need you. You're not saying, I love you and I just surrender everything that I am and I'm just going to lay everything down and do everything for you. Now, typically it means, I need you. You can't leave. I love you. I need you. You can't leave me. It's self-focused. You're focusing on yourself. And that's not what love is. Love is selfless. Love is when somebody says to you, hey, I don't love you anymore. I'm leaving. Love instead says, no, but I love you. I need you. Stay here. It doesn't say that. It says, it looks at that person and says, I love you, and I would do anything to save this relationship. That's what love is. That's what an example of love is. But there is so much more to the word of love. And I would encourage you to go back and read in scripture and even look it up in the Hebrew and Greek and find out what love means. And just go on a journey with God and ask Him what love is. And He'll reveal it to you. I promise. He's a good Father. And He loves you. And He wants you to discover what love is.